Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day weekend, beloveds. I can't say day yet because it's a coming attraction, but it's the weekend, and it's the time in Chico, anyway, that the university campus says to the students, get out of town. Please, party somewhere else. I don't know why that is. Yeah, I do. I do. Well, because this is a spirited time for many of us. Now, my love of St. Patrick's Day is twofold. The first is my middle name, Patrick. And the second is my appreciation of a 25-year-old. Single malt Scotch, that is. Didn't I? Just those who might have wondered. Well, that said, I have in my past had more than one single malt in an evening, and I have seen the leprechaun. I have seen the leprechaun. Now, St. Patty's Day is filled with all sorts of ideas of spirit, is it not? Irish whiskey, leprechauns, and the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Now, I call this the triune nature of the Irish lore. The whiskey, the leprechauns, and the pot of gold. Oh my. Oh my. So, here we are with this lore, seeking the ever-elusive wealth somewhere out in the distance. This pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But is that true prosperity? Is that true prosperity? This morning is a third in a series of 3 that is relating to the spiritual ideas of prosperity. 2 weeks ago was the principle of giving. This is our triune nature. Giving, this is the first. And the giving of spirit was the idea, giving of spirit to its creation. That whatever we give our word toward, our emotion to, and action as, it must be set into motion through the divine nature of God, or spirit. It's set in motion through our intention, our emotion, and it's set loose into a creative process. Now, the founder of this teaching, Science of the Mind, Dr. Holmes, in the textbook said this: there is no stagnation in spirit, which means it's ever creative. Nor should there be any in our idea of spirituality. To be spiritual is to create. Why do we think it's not spiritual? To be in a creative process. To get into the idea of having rather than getting over the rainbow. The spirit is alive, it is conscious, it is aware, and it is active. Now, we may not be. We could be asleep at the wheel, or down having too much spirit, which could cause us to go unconscious. There's many ways to be unconscious. But let me tell you, there's no stagnation in spirit, even when we're not conscious. It is active. What I also know is that spirit gives to us, always gives to us, not from outside of us, but it gives through us, through our beliefs, our knowing into it, to the level or degree or expansiveness that first we can embody it in our own consciousness. We have to accept that into our experience. You know, it's like driving your car and you see, I'd just like some clothing from that store, or I'd like some food from that market. And you just slow down, look at it, and you drive on by, and you get mad because you don't have it. Well, you didn't stop. You didn't open the door. You didn't let it in. Blah, blah, blah. Too much gas, not enough brake. You know, we have to stop and open to what it is we say we want. Better yet, open to the idea of that which we know we have. Because in this teaching, if you say you want, you keep wanting, whatever that is. You're praying for a want, not a knowing or a having or a believing. And so, through giving to experience prosperity, it is to provide a way for it to happen. Giving is flexibility. Giving is to make a present of, and that's to ourselves, through ourselves, so we can give it away to someone else. You know, you can't outgive God no matter what. I've learned that in this teaching. You cannot outgive this principle. I've tried it. Try it. The more you give, the more you get. Now, some people get as far as what? Money. Money. And they go, oh, I can't get that. My wallet gets puckered. Start. Love. Give a little love. Give a little more love. Give a little more caring. Give a little more time. Give a little more money. Not just to hear. Not just to hear. Hear that? Not just to hear. But to your families. You know, you'll hear people will tell you what they need if you pay attention. And sometimes I felt urged to give to a stranger because my inner nature said, yeah. And so I trust that. And then out of that, oh my gosh, there's been some wonderful comebacks. But that's a whole different lesson. Ernest Holmes says, let us see that we use the right attitude of mind in all that we do, filling ourselves with such courage and power of strength that all thought of weakness flees before us. Yes, it takes courage to give. It takes faith to give into what we know is for the highest good. Now, the second week, last week was on receiving. The ideas of our mental equivalent. Having a subjective idea of our desired experience. Talked about the reciprocal nature of all of life. And I took the example of the 4 seasons. Not the singers, but of Mother Nature. And boy, just the difference between last week and this week. The bloom, the fragrance, the pollen. Isn't nature abundant? You know, some people are claim to be affected by it. Some aren't. A whole different story. But Mother Nature, at its finest, is always doing in perfect time and in magnificent production. Now that's prosperity. That's prosperity, and that's allowing us to receive what nature's giving, to receive the beauty, to recognize it as something coming our way. Prosperity? You bet. Now today we move into today's lesson titled The Payoff. Rod wanted payoff. Well, spiritually, I believe the payoff is the truth of the idea of that pot of gold. Except that the reservoir is within us. The gift of giving and receiving is within us. That we are the mental equivalent as the individual of this cause, this effect, this flow. It's the ability to receive is the payoff. It's all these things. It's the clarity of a greater truth within us is a payoff. I used to think a payoff was, here, take it, get out of my life. But there's always something for something. There's always a reciprocal nature for something. I sold a car yesterday. It was like breath, freedom, release. It was good. It was good. I used to hold on to material things like that because I had attached a label to them. I wasn't able to give it freely. So I wasn't able to receive the benefit to my individual consciousness and my belief system about how that felt. So, side part. Mm-hmm. Prosperity and the payoff is becoming intoxicated with the greater truth and then applauding our openness, our grace and our love of ourself. This is the payoff. The sense of goodness and love and giving and receiving. It's not just one or two. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, writes, "Our word is spoken with calm conviction and in deep, deep trust, with absolute faith and assurance, but without heaviness." I love this, and I spoke this last week. Without this burden, without this cross that we think we have to carry with us. It is spoken from the consciousness of one who knows that the divine already exists. Where? Over the rainbow? No, right here. Right here. It already exists, and that we currently are revealing it. We are revealing it. Prosperity is a feeling and in-the-moment realization of being wide open in consciousness, acting out of our mental equivalent. What are we ready to experience? What is our mental equation of how life should be for us? Look at your life. It's right here, showing up. It's equivalent to how we believe it to be. It's our inner sense of the ownership of our spiritual potential. I love the word potential. Thanks, Dr. Carolyn. It was one of my best consciousness expansion words, potential, because it's without end, without boundaries. Prosperity is a something greater. It's always a something greater. Not that it's something more than, but it's just a greater understanding of life and of ourselves. In the book titled "Who's the Matter with Me?" Alice Dedman wrote, "Our body is a container made from the elements of the earth as a vessel for God, to fill of all that God is. To fill not for us to use for ourselves all at once, but to be given to others, that Spirit may, through our lifetime, keep giving to us, through us." Prosperity, the payoff. So, beloveds, love the true you. Love the true you. Not that false idea that we sometimes put on, that we've learned to carry with us. Love the spiritual self of who you are. Live life consciously, not asleep, not a drive-by. Do it with clarity, and that helps to create a world truly that works for everyone, and a personal life that is abundant with such rich blessings. such rich blessings. What I believe about the payoff is that the payoff is in our Word, in the Word of God. Walking our right direction. Our Word. Not your word, or your word, or your word, for me, but my word. That's authentic, it's powerful, it's conscious, and it's our payoff. So, step into a greater world by stepping into it with a greater word. And so it is.
So it is.